everyone. Welcome to Cheryl's Place. I have a special guest, Becki from My 5 Star Life. Hi, Becki.
Hello, how are you?
Good,
Nice.
and yourself?
I'm doing okay tonight. It's been a good week,
That's
so
fabulous to
I
hear.
can't complain.
We need good times. We need to have good times.
Uh,
Uh, hello, Alita. Hello, Delon. Thank you
I
for
you know what?
joining us.
Let me
Um,
see.
I am going to go ahead and start before we even say anything. We're not doctors. We're just going to talk about our experiences, things that happened to us, life things that we've experienced through maybe depression, anxiety, any of those mental health type issues, good, bad. So, whatever we discuss is just what we've experienced in our lives, and we're not recommending anything to anybody, but we're, open to share if anyone has any questions for us. So I asked Becki, which I thought very, very excited because she's got her fabulous wedding going on. So I approached her about talking about this topic way after her honeymoon. And she goes, I got some time. So here we are. We're going to
Yeah,
talk about mental health because everybody has some form of type of mental health stress, anxiety, anything. And some degrees are stronger levels than other people. And so I think it's important to talk about these things because everybody has something they may be nervous or anxious or anything about in life. So, um, did you want me to just go ahead and maybe start a little bit about my life with
yeah. If
depression?
you want to, yeah.
Okay.
Go for it.
Um, I didn't even really ever probably notice that I was depressed, but I think I might have probably been depressed most of my life just because certain childhood things that happen and you don't realize, things you're doing to soothe yourself or make yourself feel better. But as I got older, some of my health issues became apparent. And then they're like, well, I think antidepressants might help with this. And so, because I wasn't sleeping, I had lots of pain, all sorts of different things going on. I wasn't so much stressed or worrying or that kind of stuff. So it was kind of correlated with helping with some medications. So I've been on a few different ones, and I did do therapy for certain things, life things that happened in the past, my eating with my overeating, binge eating. So I've done that. All in health things. I was fortunate to be able to be part of some programs that help with the fibromyalgia and other things. So I've learned a lot of tools. And yes, I've been on and off different types of medications. The one that I was probably on the longest, it was called Cymbalta.
Cymbalta.
Yeah, and
I
that
was on that
correlates
one
with
for a minute.
pain medication too. It helps. And so I was on that for a long time. I mean, I did Zoloft and some other things way long time ago, but that one I was on for many years, and then finally I just started. I don't know how to describe it. Just didn't feel good. Well, you could tell after you take the medicine, all of a sudden I wasn't feeling good. So then talked to my doctor, we weaned myself off, and then I hadn't taken anything for a long time until my anxiety went really crazy when Rick got sick. Not this January, the prior. So I was on something, I don't even remember the name of it, something for 6 months. And it did help a lot. And they wanted to up it. And then I got super sick after upping it. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to wean myself off. And then I've been doing pretty decent. I don't like over worry or, any of that stuff at the moment. But I do still have issues with binge eating but um, never have I got to the point where I don't want to be here. That was never an issue or a thought in my head. Just I got to points where I didn't wash my hair for 2 weeks or I wore the same clothes for a week, that
Mhm.
type of stuff. But never did I ever not want to be here or try to do anything of that nature to myself. But yeah, there was lots of depressing things. And then for me, I've done therapy, all different kinds, from herbal to doctors to acupuncture, whatever you would like to call it. Um, and so, hi, Marcy. Oh, hey, Misty. Thank you, ladies, for coming. Oh, Becky's typing. I'm not even
I
typing it.
typed it just because while you're talking, I want to be like, hi,
Yes,
hi,
I
hi.
love it. I
Just
love it. You do
hello,
that
everyone.
because I type like a turtle. One finger, I type terrible. So you
Keeping up
type
with the
away,
chat
girl.
is too intimidating. Like while I'm on a live,
Yes, I love it.
too much going
Go
on.
for it. So,
Go ahead.
yeah, so going that's just some basic information of, whatever. I'm totally willing to get more in depth, but that's just kind of my flow. It started um the more I think about it, and through therapy and whatever, I think since certain things that happened in my childhood, and not maybe having the as loving parents, I was probably depressed as a little kid. When you see certain habits forming as an adult, I did them as a kid, overeating, but I wasn't overweight when I was young because I was active. I didn't get overweight till after high school. And I just slowly, just slowly got.
Mhm.
And then and yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at with what's going on right now.
Mhm. Um, so I guess like me, my story, I have one video. It's all the way back. I was actually going through my YouTube videos and like trying to make my channel more relevant as to like what the channel has become and what I want to talk about. And one of the first videos I did before I started my current weight loss journey, which it's been a couple years now, was talk about mental health, addiction, like uh, things in the past. And I think, I want to say, it was around 10 or 11 when I started having like issues when I was younger. I think a lot of it, I'm not saying I wasn't born with depression because I believe you totally can be, but I think there's a lot of stigma about mental health. That's why I talk about it on my channel. And I think there's a lot of mixed diagnosis too. Like if this happens or that happens, you're depressed. Well, maybe you're just going through something. It doesn't necessarily mean you have depression. So it was around 10 and 11 where maybe, like I said, I was born with depression. Maybe I have that, type of, I don't want to say personality, but maybe I was born with it. Or maybe during that time, my parents' marriage was going down the tubes. I switched from a private school to a public school. That was a big life adjustment. And
No,
I
I
had
bet.
all these things going on in my life. And I I was having a hard time and struggling with it. So my mom picked up that I was having issues. So I started seeing a therapist. I think it was when I was, like I said, like 10 or 11. I was diagnosed with depression at that time. But like I said, I don't know if that was just a situational thing or or it really was because I believe both. I believe, like I said, both can
Oh, for
happen.
sure. I agree too.
And then I think things got a little bit better. I moved in with my grandparents. School was hard, but then once I got into high school, it was a lot easier. I had more friends. In middle school, I did not have friends. I know it's really surprising. Like, why wouldn't I have friends, right? But no, I was the kid that didn't have friends. It wasn't until I was about 35 years old that I got like a bunch of friends. And things just got a little bit better. I had more people I think I interacted with in youth group, and slowly, like life got better again. I think I always had like a more. I've always been the glasses half empty type of person, so maybe like that is who I am. But in high school, I gained a little bit of weight, and then it was going to be prom season. So instead of eating a whole bunch, I just cut back on what I was eating. I put more effort in gym class. When we had to run around the track and everybody was just walking around, I'm okay. Come on, I'm speed walking or I'm doing something, and I lost 20 pounds in between my junior and senior year. Lost the weight, and and I felt okay about myself, but I never had great self esteem. And then I guess my early 20s came around. I had like life wasn't really like bad, but I had some moments where I had issues. I was on, like you said, thank you, Misty. I'm happy to be friends with everyone that is on this chat. I believe I know everybody on this chat, by the way. But I'm kidding. Okay, I was in my 20s. But I was put on Zoloft for a pretty long period of time back when I was, I think, 11. And I think that worked for a while. And then my insurance changed when I was on Cymbalta. And then as I was older, I kind of like I don't know when I went off of it, but then I started having some like issues where I felt like, I guess I don't know if I had a gap or something. I don't know if it was an insurance thing. But I ended up going off that stuff in my early 20s because I felt like I wasn't depressed like I used to be. I had gone through a major heartbreak, and I had other stuff happen, but then life switched around like 25. Life got better. I I gained a whole bunch of weight and I lost it back then, and I felt like it was kind of more situational. And then um, life was fine until the pandemic happened,
Mhm.
and then all of a sudden, I started having all like these symptoms. Anytime, I don't know, and I think I'm not saying it was all of us, but every time you have like an itch in your throat, and you're like, it's the sore throat,
Mhm.
or like you come in and it's cold day and it's hot in the house, and you're like, "Ooh, it's hot. Wait a minute," and it started like that, and then it was literally like every little ache and pain, I thought it was either COVID or that something was going on. Come to find out, like 3 years later, that some of those things, like I would have burning in my chest, some of it was anxiety, some of it is actually because of my back. And like the pain goes forward and it feel like I get like a burning. And I had quite a few ER visits in the last 3 years, like running EKGs because my anxiety, and I think because I thought something was wrong, then it made my anxiety even worse. So, anxiety and depression is something I've struggled with on and off throughout my whole life. It hasn't been as bad this last year. It's been more stress. My mental health issues are more like stress or anxiety, not obvious anxiety, not being fearful, things like that, but just being anxious about what I'm
What
doing,
if or
where I'm
what
going. What
will?
if? Yes, I have a lot of what if. I have a lot of my therapist. One of my most recent therapists, she called it catastrophizing. I do a lot of that stuff. So I think a lot of it, like I said, was the pandemic. And as that cooled down, as I actually got COVID a couple times, got through it, I went, okay, like you're you stressed out. You were lucky to be the 99% here,
Mhm.
and you're fine. And it's a lot of what I put in my head. I make a lot of anxieties in my head. But I have been to therapists. I saw some when I was younger. I've been on and off because of insurances and like my mom was like, oh, you have to go see one. But I had one good one that I think I saw in my teens that I really liked, and then she went out on maternity leave, and I don't think she ever came back.
Mm.
Um, and so I lost that connection. And I did have one. I saw grief counseling, and that's where depression I think has kicked in the last 3 years because I had a big loss. I lost my grandma, and then I've had another big loss over the last year that I won't get into detail about. You know more about that, Cheryl.
Mhm.
Um, but I've had that going on, and I had a really good therapist for I think a year. And it started because of grief counseling, but by the time I got on the wait list and saw her, it was more anxiety. Like I'm here because I think I'm gonna die from something every week, kind of. Anxiety or issues, and we really connected. But then my job changed last year, and with that the insurance wasn't covered, so I was put on the wait list, and I have been seeing someone since July, but it hasn't been the same. I did talk to her yesterday. I had an appointment, and my insurance is going to change again, and it might be an issue now, which isn't, I think, this time around a big deal because I've come so far in like knowing how to manage my stress and get through it. But I could be literally in that boat right now. But um, like I said, I can manage better, and I don't have the connection and the vibe with this therapist. But it's like it's so hard to find a therapist. It's like I've been holding on to her because I let go of her, and but
Oh yeah, that's a great point because I've had some fabulous
mhm,
ones, like you said, they moved or whatever the situation is, or maybe I was good at the time where I did not need to go anymore.
mhm,
But then I've had a handful of, as soon as you're like, I don't know, 10 minutes there, you're like, nah, this person isn't for me,
yeah,
um, or whatever. So but that's just in general anywhere in life. There's good doctors, bad doctors, whatever. So you
Hmm.
have to find the person that you can connect with, or you get enough that you can move on for what you need
Yeah.
at that particular time. Yeah, that's a great point, because I think that's normal for most people that they experience that. And insurance, that's why I don't have one right now. We have different insurance. So for me, when I'm getting in deeper than I feel like I can get through the day, I'll dig out all my tools, because sometimes I'm like, oh, what am I not doing that I've done in the past that helps? Because these are all tools, to help you get
Mhm.
through the day, whether you see a therapist, or if you decide to get on medication. But some people don't have a choice. Some people have different issues who do need to stay on a certain type of medication. Um, or whatever I learned through my therapy. And so because it is, you get used to it, and then all of a sudden you're feeling a little better, so then you just kind of maybe drop something off that you don't do anymore because you're feeling good, and
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't need to do that anymore. And then so I've kept everything that works good for me, from any of my sessions. I have all my paperwork. And besides, we have the internet, we can look stuff up and figure out things on our own too.
Hmm.
So yeah. But it's interesting. I guess I always had less friends too, but I think that was more of a trust issue for me when I was young. Because what's that saying? You're always waiting for the floor to fall out. No, that's not it. Um, I don't know if you know what I'm saying, but you put your
I,
trust in somebody, and then
I
all of a
think,
sudden, like, boom,
yeah,
it was misplaced trust.
yeah.
So yeah, so I think I got more friends. Well, we had the neighborhood when we were little kids, but then when we got older, I didn't so much, maybe one or two close friends or whatever. Um and then I started working when I was 10. I started babysitting all the neighborhood kids, and then, whatever, boom, life just started going on.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, but I think that's important, that these are tools to help us to get better. And the stigma, you brought that up.
Hmm.
We all need help. Whether you're learning a new job, you're learning to drive your car, whatever it is, we
Hmm.
all need help. And it's so important to ask for the help. Some people just don't know where to go to ask for help. Um, I just been very fortunate. But I do want to talk about the stigma. I want to go back to that.
Hmm.
When I first was thinking about doing therapy, besides this program I was involved in, at MAPS Clinic for my fibro and some other stuff, I had to get some information. So I called my mom from the place to get the information. And she started asking me, well, why do you need to know all this stuff? And I'm like, oh, I can't remember. It was information important that you had to fill out in the paperwork for insurance,
Hmm.
or I don't know. I don't remember it all. But she started screaming at me, you're just going to talk about me and make me look bad. And I don't even remember what she said. And she was swearing and yelling. They could hear everything because I was in the office. I was so mortified. I would think you'd want me to get help to be the happiest, healthiest person
Hmm.
I could be. It wasn't had nothing to do with her. It had to do with, so after I finished that, it was like a month program. I never went back there. I was so mortified that, they heard what my mom had to say, be it through the phone or yelling. And so it took me a while after that to find a therapist on my own, because I should have stayed. They were really great people, but my embarrassment of how my mom thought about it and thought about me trying to get help was mortifying, because I was young lady, young, probably my 20s. So yeah, I just did not know how to handle that at all. So I'm completely different than my kids.
Hmm.
Whatever they need, I'm there. I will help wherever they need to go. It's just because we all
Yeah.
need help. In life's hard.
Yeah.
Life can be hard.
Yeah, I think that's why like some people think they can't get help is because they have like a family member or somebody or that finds out that they're seeking help for it. And the easiest way for me to explain it is if I have a broken leg or a broken foot, and I say, "Oh, my foot's bad," or "My back's bad," or something. "Oh, we're sorry to hear that. It's understandable." You say that something up here is going on. a lot. You feel almost like I don't want to say it, but a mental case. Like you feel like, great, nobody wants to talk to me because they think I'm a nut job or something. Like,
Yeah, some
or
people
if
are
the
just
wrong
not
person
open
found out,
to,
it's going to
yeah.
be used against you. Where nobody's going to use your broken leg against you, but tell somebody that you're suffering with depression or anxiety or whatever it is, if you have like another type of like illness, mental illness, then it's so like, oh my god, well, this person shouldn't be doing this, or this person is this, and then it goes down the rabbit hole of, well, why seek help if nobody's going to understand or want to help, or like at least try to say, okay, like, good for you for getting help.
Yeah, it's like kind of like that old saying, just rub dirt in it. Oh no, that's
Mhm.
not a cure for anything, you know. It's like yeah. When I went fib and I'm just because fibromyalgia, when that first started, being whatever, and they diagnosed me with
Mhm.
that, I actually had a lady that was a friend of ours come up to me and say, "You have a fake illness." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I go, "I'm at the doctor. They say I have this. I went through tons of testing and whatever. And I had seen specialists before I got the diagnosis because I have arthritis, but it was something different and
Mhm.
whatever. And it's the same mentality. It's like I didn't tell you this, and plus I was talking to somebody else because I want anyone to feel bad about me. I just found this out, so I'm trying to get more information about it. And someone had said they knew someone that had it, and so we were kind of chit chatting about it. But it's like just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's not real. And I think that's besides the stigma of mental health, there's people who don't want to understand it because maybe they need help and they figure, hey, if
Mhm.
I think it doesn't exist, then I don't need to go, find tools, better myself or whatever. I mean, I don't know. There's flip sides of all aspects, I guess,
Well,
on
I think
that.
it's also like the labels. Like if
Yeah,
you go through
labels.
that, you're labeled as like someone who's crazy or
Mhm.
unsafe, or like when being depressed is something totally like normal and natural. Like everybody goes through periods where they're
Oh,
depressed, whether
yeah.
they're born with it or whether, like, okay, your family member died, you're
Mhm.
going through a depression. That's perfectly normal, but nobody wants to talk about that. And it's I think somebody comment, I forget who it was, said like, just want you to brush it under the rug and act like it's not there, and
Yeah.
like deal with it instead of openly talking about it. And I've seen in my own family where issues, just normal issues, weren't discussed, uh, yeah, discussed with one another, and it made the relationship and their lives so much harder than if they would have dealt with it and sought help with it. There
Mhm.
could have been a different ending to some of my family members' lives. And I sit back now and I think about it. I'm just like, and I get so frustrated. Like, they're gone, they're not here. I can't do anything about it. But I'm like, I sit back and I'm like, why did you have that life? Like, why did, like,
Because they got stuck. They just got stuck and couldn't see
why?
their way
And I
out,
think
or
some of them sometimes want to help, but they never had the courage, or if they did,
yeah.
they felt like, one of my family members who is no longer here, I think that person like sought help and they were doing good, and then they just, like, the help out, they just didn't feel like they were being helped enough, so they just said, screw it, and they gave up on themselves. And I think
That's
that
what's
in
so
the
bad.
end is like, they just, their last couple weeks of life, they just, they stopped taking care of themselves and doing what they need to do, and they quickly like neglected their other health issues, and they were gone quick.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. Like we'll just sit here.
Mhm.
Do I have the right thing? Oh my God, I'm so terrible. I don't have my readers on.
I don't think I
Sometimes just
can
listening.
highlight them.
Yes. You don't need to give advice. Just listen. And some of the people
Mhm,
that think they have the best advice, they sometimes don't know anything that they're talking about,
mhm.
or, um, you know, um,
I'm one of
yeah,
them.
be a great listener. Yeah.
I give advice
Oh
sometimes, like,
no,
I
there's
shouldn't
some
have said that.
people.
Who am I to,
No, there's some
oh, you?
people that you met in your life
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I
they are
know
just
which type
talking.
you're talking about.
They're just talking to hear themselves. They're not talking to help.
Mhm,
They're just
mhm,
talking. Well, and then I really think we lost my brother. I was in end of first grade, and summer was just about to start, and he was born. um, with half a heart, and then after they couldn't keep him alive, he lived for a month,
Mm.
but because his poor little heart just couldn't, and they didn't have that type of heart surgery back then. They're
Yeah.
talking, I was 7, so that's 1976, I think, or 77. I don't know,
Mhm.
70s, right around there. And obviously devastating, but I was so little. My other brother, he's 2.5 years younger than me, so we were little. I mean, we understood to a point what all was going on. You could at that time in your life. But my parents, they cut off everything after he passed. And then we only kind of just seen family for a while,
Mhm.
and then they started to get back, and then to do things and whatnot. But they never went and got help, and they that after older, and now I can
Yeah.
see these things. Oh my gosh, they so needed it. They just needed somebody to them to go talk and vent or whatever they needed to do, but they never did. And it was, even though they kind of started interacting with my brother and I, and then we have a younger sister who's 10 years younger than me. Started trying to do more things, but it
Mhm.
wasn't it wasn't a, I don't know, cohesive family at
Mhm.
that time. And I know part of it, um, besides their personalities and what they had going on throughout their life before they met each other and all that, it would have been tremendous help that they could have got, because
Mhm.
grief, like you're talking about, grief, it comes in different waves and different forms.
Mhm.
Maybe a commercial comes and next thing you know, you're bawling your brains out, or you're mad. I mean, because I'm mad at my parents, they wouldn't quit smoking. That's why they passed
Mhm.
away at a young age. They both passed. There's days I miss them so much, and then there's days I have all this anger because it's like, you would have just quit smoking, you wouldn't have got lung cancer,
Mhm.
whatever. But yeah, grief is comes in different ways and different forms for everybody. And it's just, and there's those days you just wake up and it hits you in the gut and you can't even get dressed that day, and you were fine when you went to bed that night.
Mhm.
you know grief is hard.
Mhm. Yeah, I've been good with it like most of the time, but like over the last few weeks, I some it was like I was driving home, and it was just somebody that I've lost in the last year, and I was good, and I'm driving home from an appointment. All of a sudden, I get a flashback in my head of the person that I'm sitting next to in the car look at me and just say like, "Hey, this person's gone." Like like I just the moment that I was told flashed back, and I was like 5 minutes from home, and I'm just like, and like I
Mhm.
had a moment there, and then as I'm shopping for my wedding and stuff, there's people that obviously aren't going to be there, and so like I'm good. I'm like I know they're not going to be there, and then like I'm buying this and I'm buying this, and then it's like, oh, so and so gift for the, and I'm just like, and it just hits you like out of nowhere, and I'm in the middle of the store. I'm like, you can't lose your crap right now, and I'm like getting out of the wedding section, and I need to go shop for something else.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Just give you a
And
toilet seat, like the have to like redirect yourself. So
oh,
it
you
comes
do, and it's good that we're able to see these things.
like,
Some people who are maybe not gotten therapy or have someone to talk to or whatever, they might have handled that situation completely different, had a complete meltdown in that department at the store,
mhm,
and wouldn't be able to be consoled. And then, what would happen next? Were they going to get kicked out of the store because they can't, control
mhm,
the situation they're going through at the moment? Because there's so many people like Will and everybody's been saying, if you don't have empathy, if you don't care about anybody, if you don't
mhm,
try, they don't care that you're going through that. They just, oh, you're embarrassing me, or you're acting up, or you're drama, or whatever the someone may think at that particular time, because they don't want to deal with the situation that is happening at the time.
mhm.
I've always been the one that if I see someone fall down, I'm running to help them up, or what. I don't know. I just don't understand how you can't have compassion for people.
Yeah,
It's just
I'm that
yeah,
person too. Like,
yeah,
and I'm probably too caring about other people, where I should just don't worry about that person. Like, you can't help them.
yeah.
Not your
Oh yeah,
problem.
I've
Like,
learned to set boundaries, and it's hard to set boundaries, but it's good for our mental health. To set these
mhm,
boundaries. I wished I would have. learn that younger. It didn't start happening until my 40s when I started setting boundaries. And once you do, I mean, and it is hard when you do them. When you do set boundaries for your life, people don't understand or whatever. But if we don't do it, we're not doing any justice to ourselves to make our keep us strong and keep us to get through the things that we have to, we have to do that, set boundaries.
Mhm. I think now that you bring that up, that's a big part of mental health boundaries. I think just more recently, I didn't bring up a lot of my like mental health struggles have been just like my environment. Um, I like the type of career I do is just a it's a hard career like to be in, period. But this last year, there were a lot of boundaries that I did not set, and I was doing a lot more than I should have been doing. And in January, one of the hardest months of my working career ever, I was in a completely different place than I am right now today because I'm in a limbo week right now. I'm in between my jobs right now. I know how that sounds, but I start my new job on Monday. But I think I was in such a bad mental place because I didn't have boundaries. And I'll do this. I'll take care of this. I'm the only one who knows how to do this. If I don't do it, nobody else is going to do it.
Hmm.
And hello, Becki, it's not your worry.
Hmm.
Stop. Your job is this. You need to worry about this. Stop. And I think part of that with being empathetic and compassionate, I know that I was one of the people placed where I was placed because not everybody has the compassion and patience to be in my position. I don't always have it. There are days I don't need to be at work because it's I don't need to be there that day. Um,
Oh yeah.
it's more harm than good, and I've removed myself in the past and like taken a leave of work because I knew I wasn't in a good spot. But going back to that, I I think having that compassion also drains me because I know that I've been one of those few people who have that compassion and love and understanding. And so while I'm the person that's being compassionate and understanding and other people in the background aren't, that's more draining to
Hmm.
have the chitter chatter behind me and that and um just not standing up and like sticking up for myself in certain situations. Definitely boundaries.
Oh yeah, we do need to. I still don't stick up for myself for certain things,
Mhm.
out in public because I'm shocked or I'm flabbergasted, whatever. I just can't believe certain things are happening, and I just. But then I'm a little bit older than you, but I think kind of similar raise. Girls are to be good. Don't
Mhm.
cause waves. Say yes. Be polite. Whatever. We obviously want to be
Mhm.
have manners,
Yeah.
but it's like when I was a
Mhm.
kid, don't talk back, don't ask questions, blah, 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 all these things.
Mhm.
So I know those things are not right because I even had a guy at work, a way older guy than, oh, whatever, slap me on my rump while I'm at work. Did I say anything? Did I do anything? No, I just walked to my desk and tried to avoid him every day. Did I stick up for myself? No. And then I'm at work and I'm freaking out because it's like, is he going to try to do this again? And but it's like when I was younger, when I'm younger, but
Mhm.
now I'm a little better about things of that nature to stick up for myself. But I'm still, it's like, I don't know.
I think
It's,
it could be like I have that personality where I let myself get well and then on the side I'm trash talking. I let all the energy and I'm like, well, this person I turn around next time and tell them to off.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
basically, um,
Yeah. I mean, we have to learn. Yeah, you're right, to stick up for ourselves. But is this such a uncomfortable? I mean, I think I do well, like with the close people around me. Well, no, I kind of don't. I guess I don't. I'm lying right now.
yeah,
I do let people
I'm still learning
take
myself.
advantage
Like,
of knowing I'll say yes. So that's a hard thing for me to say
mhm,
no sometimes. Um, it still is a hard concept, but I am making more boundaries than I have
mhm.
ever in the past. So we gotta start somewhere, right?
I'm better. I'm scared that when I do stick up, it's all coming out. all
Mhm.
the pent up, or if I had to like, um, I think there was a situation. It was in the last year. It was a neighborhood boy was walking the dog, and the dog had a cone on his head. And this was a dog they left outside like all day. They didn't pay much attention, so he wasn't. He was like a neglected dog. You know what I mean? Um, and he had had a surgery, and the kid's walking in my neighborhood. And I see him, and I wasn't sure if he like just like gotten like maybe was almost tripping over the dog. But as he got closer, I could see that he was like tapping the dog with his legs, like kind of like giving him a boot a little bit, like come on, go faster. Like I'm not a person that says anything, but in that moment, snapped. I went out of my, and this was before the camera. We have a camera that records now. We just had a camera and it didn't pick it up. So I would have had him on camera, like not like hitting this dog, which just infuriated me.
Mhm.
I walked down in my driveway and I said, I wish you, and he turned around and he stopped and he kept on like looking behind him, like, go ahead, do it again, buddy.
Mhm.
Go ahead. And I think I've gotten to that point in my life where I will stick up for myself. I'll do it in a very bad way where I'm crossing a boundary.
So
Um,
you need to figure out how to.
I'm either too nice or we're gonna square up
It's
right
a
now.
100%.
I'm taking care of this my way.
Yeah.
I'm going off.
So you need to find the wave of in between.
Yes, and that's my struggle. I either
Yeah.
don't say anything or I turn around and you want to say something about
Unleash.
me? I'm saying something really ugly about what you did 3 days ago, and I'm making it personal. So I
Mhm.
think that, and that's something I internalize. So I
Mhm.
need to find a balance to appropriately stand up.
So when you are experiencing, let's just say that particular situation, and then once you cool down, do you do anything else? Like, did you maybe journal and let a little bit more of that out, or did you go for a walk, or do you do anything to help, like on bad days, or what kind of tools do you use when you're experiencing those type of
I
situations?
think right after that happened, I think I just paced around like the house and I tried to run the cameras back. I'm like, if I got him, I'm calling right now and they're
Hmm.
gonna see it. And nope, I ain't. I'm like, calm down. You can't call nobody. Okay, you gotta watch. You can't. You you gotta be cool too. Okay, because then you're
Hmm.
just as bad. You're making yourself just as bad as the situation. But I think I paced around. I think I paced around the house a little bit after that happened.
Until you help soothe yourself to calm down, and then
Yeah.
just go back on with the rest of your day once you. But it's very upsetting to see any of those kind of situations.
Mhm.
And like you said, maybe next time, sad to say, that person walks by again, you can get a recording of it. Hopefully they don't do it anymore.
I think the
Um,
kid did walk by, but I saw him treating the dog right when he walked by
mm,
next time.
mm.
Because yeah, the crazy lady at this house is gonna come out.
Will,
Yeah.
the nuclear option. Yes, we don't want to go to the nuclear option. Yeah, because then um you will get yourself in trouble. We had a family situation where somebody is very far into illegal drugs, and I'm talking really hard stuff. And you know the scenario, it's take, 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 take. They never give, whatever. I'm not going to go into much of that detail. And we finally, it's like, you know what? We're done. And it was very hard to get to that point. But now it's like we don't get the calls from the police. So and so's here. You got to come get them or bail. No, they are
Mhm.
50 some years old now. They are making these choices. We've tried
Mhm.
to get them help. We've done everything humanly possible, and it's to the point where nope, you've burned all your bridges. If you ever do go get help, we care about you, but right now you've burnt every single bridge. You've
Mhm.
made all of our lives terrible because it is a terrible addiction. It is, got such a hold on this person. um, but it's like we can't deal with it anymore. We've already given everything we can, our time, our love, we've offered help, we've offered to pay for help, but when they're not ready for any of that,
Mhm.
and is it just eats up your time, it eats up your soul. How the whole extended family, some are like, what is the word? They give, and that you know what I mean. They'll give them the $20, or they'll give them a new car or whatever. What
Mhm.
is the word? I can't think
Uh,
of it.
oh my gosh.
You know
Wait,
what I'm trying to say.
I had it at the tip of my tongue, and I totally. Oh god.
um
I mean, there's the giver and the taker,
yes,
but
and
like,
then
you
but
know,
there's the person that well, it doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying.
yeah,
They will continue to give until that person is dead, because they
yeah. Will said
whatever.
enabler.
That's the word. Thank
Yes.
you, Becky. Enable. And it does. It sucks. It sucks. It's such a terrible thing. But it's like, we love you. We want you to be better. We want you to get help. But until they're ready to do it,
You have
it's
to
not
cuddle.
happening.
You have
Mhm.
like for your own, and that's the family situation I was in. But I had somebody in the middle, in between all that, that I couldn't just neglect. If
Mhm.
that person had not been alive as long, then I would have just not bothered with the other two that were causing the issues. Um,
Yeah, an enabler. Yeah, and it is. It's so hard because we want these people to be successful. We want them to have a great life too, and
mhm.
it's just hard. And yeah, and then it tolls again. Like, we want to help. And it drains us
Mhm.
because we want to be loving. We want to make sure they're helped, and then that tolls on our mental health because we're not, we're getting those calls in the middle of the night, or whatever.
Mhm.
But I will take a call from somebody in the middle of the night if they need help. But when they don't want help and they're just
Yeah.
calling because they know you're going to answer, then that's where my boundaries have become now.
Mhm.
You're stranded in the middle of the night, your tire blew, whatever. I will come
Yeah.
help you. But if it's a situation where you won't get yourself help, or you try to get help or whatever, then I can't do it anymore, because I need to be able to live my life and get through my daily struggles
Yeah.
too.
You just gotta screen your calls. You just gotta. Okay,
Oh
cheers.
yeah.
Okay,
You're right.
this
You're right.
this one's legit. Yeah. Um.
Yeah, people have to want to, and like, that's it. That I want to change. You want to change. We want to be better. We want to be
Mhm.
healthy. We want to be stronger. And so we are addressing whatever, if we have anxiety, mental health issues, depression, because
Mhm.
we want to be our healthiest, our strongest, and our best selves going forward. And that's why there's so many great tools. Maybe you need to sit down and read. Maybe you need a journal. Maybe you need to go for a
Mhm.
walk. Maybe you do need to get some type of medication. You find a good
Mhm.
doctor and a good therapist or whatever, or breathing exercise. There's so many tools to help with any kind of situation with mental health issues. And I think and I'm just, again, Becky, so grateful
Mhm.
you want to talk about this, because it is so important. There should be no stigma
Yeah,
attached to this.
but
It's a
I think
health issue.
yeah, I'm sorry. I think the things that you just mentioned, though, are things that I do. Do I do them every night?
Yeah.
No, I shouldn't. Even if I'm okay, just because things are going okay doesn't mean that I shouldn't stop reading or journaling. Or a big one is but breathing exercises that I learned with my one of my last therapists. All those like calming exercises. Yeah, you're not having anxiety attacks or thinking that you're going to die every day, but that doesn't mean you still don't learn how to count to five in your head, or think
Mhm.
of this strategy or that strategy, or push out the negative thoughts. Taking, you know, you still
Yeah, if you're doing the
just
breathing
slows
exercise, you're
down.
breathing in the positive and you're exhaling the
Mhm.
negative thought or the negative whatever at that moment. Yeah.
If you don't use it, you lose it, and when you need to
Mhm.
use it, you know, so
Well,
it's
yeah, and there's other people. I mean, some people maybe don't want to see a therapist. Maybe they see a spiritual healer or someone
mhm,
from their church or whatever. I'm not saying you have to see a therapist, but there are times in life someone may need to see a
mhm,
therapist, and you should feel comfortable enough to explore that avenue, and you shouldn't have to worry. what so and so thinks about you, um, because they probably don't really care about you to begin with if they're worried that you're going to see a therapist. Because if they
Mhm.
really cared about you, or want
Mhm.
the best for you, they would say, "Yeah, get those tools, find out what's going on." You know.
Yeah, and I think everybody has a preference and stuff that like works for them. Like with eating, what kind of I don't I hate saying diet because I don't
But
mean
your food, what kind of food you
what
want to
kind of
eat
food
to
you
be your
eat.
healthiest and
And
feel the best? Yeah.
different things work for different people. Okay,
Hmm.
there's not like I don't I want to. Okay, I'll say it. There's no one right or wrong way. It's you might have dietary needs. You might have this. So mentally, you breathing exercises might not cut it for you. You might have
Hmm.
to go to this strategy and do some more of a like meditative. I mean, there's breathing and meditation. That was a bad example, but you may have to do something like exercise, maybe lifting weights does it for you. Maybe running, maybe the
Hmm.
elliptical,
Oh yeah.
even my exercise. Certain things aren't good for certain like exercises aren't good for my actual body. For you, they might be fine. So I think you have to really play around and experiment with different things. I mean, for some people, it's dancing in the kitchen. Um, there's got to be a list of things you can pick from to build yourself up, and sometimes they don't help either. And it could be like in January I was doing a lot of like self-care, and sometimes it didn't work, or some of the self-care that I was doing wasn't the self-care that I probably needed. I was reading a very intense book that was about the Holocaust, and I'm having these really intensive days at work, really stressed out, really draining days, and then I'm coming home and reading about a Nazi soldier that's in this lady's house who's assaulting her every 5 seconds, and I'm like, maybe you should pick a different strategy, Becky, because this isn't this. You've had no off switch all day. You've gone from this, then you read your calming book that's not really that calming. So
Yeah.
you really have to find the right strategy and
Oh,
um,
I
do something
agree.
that's
I
really going to
agree.
calm you down.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, there's
Mhm.
certain times if I know I'm in a certain headspace, I don't read that certain book, or I don't watch those certain
Yeah,
shows or whatever, because like you said, they bring you more
Game of
down
Thrones.
and you're already down or
Yeah.
anxious or whatever you have going on, and those are not uplifting and they're not helping you feel light and or relaxed in your home, because now you got extra feeling bad or anger or whatever going on from the book or the show you may be watching.
Or even with your personal life, like a good example, I'd come home, and sometimes it was a good thing. I go from work stress to come home, and then what do I have to do for the wedding? Wedding stress. You just had a stressful day. You're not going to have wedding stress today.
Mhm.
And I talked about that with my therapist yesterday about how, like, the last couple of weeks, I haven't had work stress. So it's really great. I am in a better place. But the only thing for me to focus on right now is my wedding. So instead of, um, you know, focusing on it certain nights of the week or, at certain times every day, what do I have to do today? Bam. Well, I didn't do this. I didn't do this. I did. You have to have a healthy break. You have to not,
Oh,
even if you have that stress, find a time to take a break from your stresses. Don't go from one intensive thing to the next, because in about a week you're done. You're out for the count,
oh, for
and
sure.
you're mentally burnt out.
Oh yeah. I mean, and
Mhm,
sleep's so important. That's a good tool. I mean, want to put it in a category of a tool. Sleep is so important for our body. It
mhm,
shuts our brain down. It lowers our heart rate. It just does all these great,
mhm,
wonderful things. But I have sleep issues. And so if you're not getting the
mhm,
appropriate amount of sleep, doesn't help some of these days. It just makes the days
mhm,
harder because you're lethargic, you're tired, or
mhm,
it just isn't, the flow isn't your normal flow, and you want to kind of find your normal flow. I just do like melatonin and certain things now, natural type things. But I was on a medication for that and it
mhm.
worked great. But guess what? It worked too good. I was purchasing things in the middle of the night and had zero clue
God.
until they showed up at the house. And I'm like, what is this?
Huh,
And thank goodness I didn't buy like expensive things. I had bought some cheap things and it happened like 3 or 4 times. And I'm like, what is
mm,
happening? And so I talked to my doctor. They said that's a huge side effect. I'm like, okay, I am done with this, because if I do that, what's going to be the next step? Am I going to be like
Mhm,
someone wandering around the house in the middle of the night? Whatever. I'm like, no,
mhm,
that's, I mean, even though I did, I slept great. Well, I guess buying in the middle of the night. I guess I was
mhm.
online doing things in the middle of the night. But for me, I felt good when I woke up in the morning. I had a great night's sleep. But I just
But
can't do that.
I've known people that are on certain sleep or they're for anxiety too meds, and they've seen like they've literally seen things like and have like
Mhm.
hallucinated and certain
Hallucinations. Yeah.
yeah they're not that it's funny. It's not funny if it's
Well,
happened.
it's not funny, but it's like kind of fun. I mean, thank
But if
goodness,
you
like I said,
listen to the story
I
about
know.
like
I'm
how
just
like
grateful I did not go like buy well, you know what I mean? Like a new fridge showed up or something, it's just like what?
what do we order
But
a
yeah.
new oven?
Hey Rick, we're going on vacation. I got tickets somewhere in the middle of the night. No, and so,
Mhm.
but that's just it. Not all medications is for everybody, and that's
Yeah.
anywhere across the board, whether it's mental health or whatever.
Yeah.
Not everything works with your body chemicals,
Mhm.
and that's something too. You have to give it time. A lot of these things, don't you agree? Kind of, we have to give it time. When we all of a
Yeah.
sudden realize something's going on or whatever, and we're changing it, it's not going to happen overnight. We have to allow ourselves to have time to see the growth or experience the
Mhm.
changes or using the tools. Because if we don't, then you're just going to either get worse or fail or just
Mhm.
never try again.
Yeah, and I think like even like I think I'm like looking at some of the comments and it's like certain things like foods, well certain medicines react, with everybody's, body chemicals. One of the last meds I was on, it was a med I was on when I was younger. I was on Zoloft when I was younger, and then I went back on it to start it up again. At like not the height, but like after like the pandemic had started, and it actually had side effects that weren't good side effects. So I had to like stop it after a few weeks.
Oh,
Um,
yeah, we do
and I
it.
just had to, and now since I've tried this, I've tried that, and I'm on and off other medicines right now for other reasons. You have to, it takes some time to play around to
Oh,
get through.
yeah, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not even going to happen in a month, especially if you do happen to try a medication. They say 3 to 6 months to even maybe start noticing a
Yeah.
change, unless you're getting a side effect. Well, then you're probably going to notice much quicker. But
Yeah.
like Marcy is saying, stress, it comes in any
Mhm.
way, emotional stress. When you're sick, you're not healthy, you're not feeling good, work, anything can give us these stress. And how are we going to deal with it? And I think it's so important. Whether you're injured, like did I want arthritis and fibro and all this other stupid stuff? EOE? No, but then there's people who are injured or have an accident or whatever. And I think, um, like you had mentioned before, it's easier for people to accept those kind of things because they're like, oh, they were in a car accident or they were in a
Mhm.
ski accident or they got injured at work or whatever have you. Because it's an accident or a result of something that happened to them where it's like EOE, I never even heard of it until they're
Mhm.
like, whatever. So it's like, you just, I don't know. I'm getting off track. I'm sorry, Becki. You bring us back on track. I'm just
Oh,
rambling
so
over
I
here.
get off track. I start talking about my, I don't know. I went on a tangent about how I almost got arrested for chasing a kid down the street. I mean, but what we're
I think just medications and tools that we need
yeah.
and in diagnoses. Sometimes you might not even get your correct diagnoses. If it's always good to get second or maybe a third opinion if it's something really serious. I'm going to truly believe that I believe my dad was manic depressive and what's the other thing that goes with it? Bipolar.
Bipolar, yeah.
His sister got diagnosed that, and when I talked to her
Mhm.
and I got a lot of information, it was just like this light bulb went off, and I believe my dad had those, and just thinking how
Mhm.
much he struggled. And yeah, I love him, but then there's these things that he did that are not,
Mhm.
wonderful. And I think it's because of these maybe things that he could have had. And just like what kind of life would he have had if he
Mhm.
would have went and got some help? But like I said, mentioned, my mom freaked out when I talked about going,
Mhm.
to get help. So I don't, if he had those same beliefs or not. But it's just like your life would just be so much
Mhm.
better when life is easier and you can connect A, B, and C. Like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. I need to stop doing this. This is a better choice, or I don't know.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to say it's generational, but I think as generations, evolve,
Mm-hmm.
like now mental health is more an acceptable thing
Mm-hmm.
to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas back in 1940, nope. Like, I mean, even with like the work that I do, people weren't with disabilities weren't accepted like they are today. I mean, and there's
Oh,
still
I
an
know.
acceptance that has to. I mean, there still is a lot of people that aren't accepted for those disabilities and things like that. But like back, in 1950s, if I worked where I worked, I wouldn't work with the people I work with because they were either home or they were locked away. For me, so the same thing I think with mental health or talking about different other health issues. It was like a taboo thing. Like
Mm-hmm.
we just don't. I feel like older
Oh
generations
yeah,
just did
don't
not.
tell the neighbors. Don't tell so and so. Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Um,
Don't tell nobody. We don't want the neighbors to know. We don't. What?
like
What?
even with my
So you're
relationship,
gonna
I
be
feel
miserable
like.
because you don't want the neighbors to know something? It just this concept
It's
is just.
hmm It's even like my grandmother's generation. It was you meet somebody, you get married, then you have kids. You you don't talk about certain things, and come to find out, and it was like this hush hush thing that was a secret, but not really secret. Her parents were married, and her mom was about 2 months along, and her oldest brother was born. I think it was like 8 months after. It was like a real close. Like, was he
Mhm.
early? Who was
Oh,
pregnant
there
when
were
they got
so
married?
many of those
Like, who
marriages.
cares? And like, but it was a thing today where it's like a big deal. Now I'm at my generation. I've been living with Charlie now for a couple of years before we get like so like we've had a
Mhm.
little progression over. I'm not saying that's wrong or right that you have
Yeah,
to live or don't
you
live
have
with
to
somebody.
decide what's right for
Yeah,
you. Yeah, how you
but
want to live. Yeah.
like 20 years ago, that's something I'm never going to do because we don't do these things. We don't talk about these things. If just, I think just society in general with just things that are
Well,
acceptable and not acceptable, period.
you are so right. Well,
Mhm.
we got married in 92 and we lived together 2 years, 2.5 years before we got married. And my parents were
Oh,
just very
that was a
upset.
big deal in not
Very
92.
upset.
That was,
I go, well, why? This is my belief, my feelings
mhm.
is why would I want to live with somebody or marry somebody who I don't know everything about? I mean, just because I've seen my parents or other people in my life where they're not happy and they're not going to do anything about it. Or some people do get divorces, but
I feel,
my parents
I feel
didn't,
my
and they were
response because
miserable. So
that's how my family is. And I went, I didn't move it until after my grandma with Charlie until after my grandma
mm,
passed away. But it's almost like if I don't think it's right. You should be getting married, or yada yada yada. And well, you didn't do anything until you got married. Look how it's
mm,
working out for you. Your relationship's
mm,
great over here, and like she's in the most miserable marriage. And
mhm.
not to say that it doesn't work out that way, but
Oh yeah, that's not always how it is. Yeah, that's correct. But
I know a
sometimes it
little
is. It's a
more going into mine than I think she did going into hers. I'm not saying
yeah,
like hopefully everything works out and everything like
yeah.
that, but how's it working for
Yeah,
you
and I
there?
respect
Look,
other people's choices on, whether they want to do that or not. I just, for myself,
mhm,
seeing what I did see growing up is like I wasn't going
mhm,
to do that because it's like, do okay, I marry you, but I don't really know you, and then we get divorced. I mean, to me, I guess that was kind
mhm,
of how I thought about it. It's like, so that's going to happen instead of just finding someone who I want to be with, and that kind of thing.
mhm.
But
I mean, I
but
think
yeah,
you need
that's still
options either
taboo.
way.
That was in 92, but it still kind of is depends upon where you live, your family
Mhm.
values and what that is still can be kind of a taboo. Oh, goodbye, Will. Thank you so much for coming. We
See
appreciate
ya.
you. Good night. Yeah. So, but there is so many different tools, and don't be afraid to ask for help. I think that's
Mhm.
what I really want to promote tonight. Just don't be afraid to ask for help. Maybe you look, I don't know where all the places are on the internet, or if you're out at your community, like YMCA or something. There's those bulletin boards, there's papers, there's always some way to find somebody to talk to that will listen, hopefully not being judgmental. And if they know that they can't provide the help for you, maybe suggest where you can go next to find what you may need.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, there's just so many resources out there. Some are free, some you have to pay for, some you need
Yeah.
insurance. But whatever you can find, because I haven't done this, but my son did. He was doing therapy on his phone
Yeah,
where
on the
you, well, I think FaceTime or something. I don't know. That was a while back. So there's so many different forms. Whether you don't want to go into the office and talk to somebody, I think you could do it on your phone, texting or FaceTime or whatever. I mean, there's so many
mhm.
different forms nowadays than there was in the past.
Yeah, and that is one of the good things about like COVID and all that. Like we can do some things from our homes now. That it just I'm not saying everything is good from our home,
Mm,
but certain things like the therapist I talked to her on the phone. The one before that, it was like a FaceTime,
mhm,
so it was really good to chat there because it would have been by the time I got to the office and went back, it might have been too late. So it was easier to just pick up the phone 15 minutes after work, and
mhm.
it was just it was just so much better with that. Um,
Yeah, I'm just so appreciative that you are talking to me about this tonight, because I was gonna wait until because I
oh
originally asked if you want to do it
yeah,
after, because I know you're planning for the wedding and you got all these things. So I didn't want to, because I'm trying to do more lives, talk about all sorts of different things. I have some set up for April and May and June,
mhm,
because there's so many different topics, and I do enjoy giving updates. But then there's times I want to talk about certain other things that I just don't. Someone wants to just know if I lost some weight or am I still doing keto, and so they might not be interested in hearing this or want to listen
mhm,
to this, and so
yeah.
I kind of want to have another avenue. I don't know. Does that make sense to talk about
Yeah,
things
I
at
have.
different
That's
times?
why I varietize like I mean I'm trying to narrow it down to like hey, this is my lifestyle kind of vlog. If I go somewhere, or if I want to tell you how my month went, or because there's a wedding going on, I cover that right now.
Mhm.
That trying to make it like that on my channel, but I have those different like types of videos. So like, okay, you maybe you don't want to hear about my mental health stuff, or maybe
Yeah.
you don't care about my
Well,
50th
because
wedding
someone might
video.
just come to do
Then
your Disney, or someone might
yeah,
be just the steps challenge, or whatever. But since
yeah,
our community is growing and we're so strong and we're like good friends and family members to our, in
yeah,
our group, that we want to experience all this with everybody. I want to hear about your great
yeah,
Disney, and I want to hear about what you're doing today, or you getting a new career or whatever, because I'm invested in you. So I am interested in all that. But I get what you're saying is someone may just want to only hear about your Disney, or
yeah.
whatever. And so, but I think I maybe talked to Misty about this. Is like, I'm gonna kind of do whatever I want on my channel, just
Mhm.
because I did talk about the challenges and losing weight and mental health. Well, I guess exercising and whatever, and getting myself better. But I want to do whatever feels good to me, and that's okay if someone isn't interested
Yeah.
in watching that, because I want to be my authentic self. Because I never even thought I would be doing this. So if I'm gonna do it, I want to be all in, I guess. I
Mhm.
don't know if
And I
that
do
makes
that on the
sense.
flip side with other people's channels. Like there are certain people like I watch all this type of video they put out because I can't watch all their videos. So like if you're I don't know, if you're somebody that I follow that's into Disney, and they do unboxings and they go to the parks, I might just watch when they go to the parks.
Mhm,
On this channel, I might really like when their kids unbox pins, and I like to watch. So I watch their pin unboxings or something like that. So I try to like watch something that I'm like interested in, and I click on like the videos I'm interested in. So I'm getting that support, and I'm like enjoying myself. But um, So, like, I mean, like with my videos, there's different stuff because there's different stuff for different strokes for different folks.
Oh yeah, I agree. Oh, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And I just want to keep going forward because the different things we're talking about. I'm just going to give a quick example of Maha and Misty and I are going to do a video or a live next month, and we're going to talk about things like in your home that helps you feel good. Like I'll just give one
Mhm,
example: plants. Having certain plants in your house or your home, wherever, it purifies the air, and there's certain benefits of having plants, or whatever, certain things that maybe you should do um,
mhm,
in your home that keeps your home healthier for you to be in. Because when I was first years ago, when I had the arthritis and the fibro and everything, and it was like when I'm trying to figure out what to do, and they had me on so many meds. Becki, I'm surprised I even walked. I mean, the amount of medication they had me on. Well, guess what? I'm not doing. I didn't clean my house. I did the laundry and cooked food and whatever, but my house, did I vacuum once a week? No, I wasn't doing that.
mhm.
I let the things just go, and that doesn't bring me joy. That doesn't make me feel healthy and strong, and I'm clean, breathing in fresh air. No, I'm making myself sicker because my house isn't healthy too. We want the place where we live to be healthy
Yeah,
too.
that's a big thing with me right now. With I know Missy just talked about it on her channel. It's spring. I have like a video that I literally just made that will come out like on spring break about like I'm going through and cleaning up because it's clearing
Mhm.
the vibes, it's clearing the energy, and that's related to mental health. It really is. I didn't even like hello having your environment affects like whether it's your environment at home, whether it's like the people you're around, anything that is surrounding you affects your mental health and how you feel. And having a clean house and a clean home and having getting rid of things that aren't serving you.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a difference. I feel better right now, probably in my kitchen than I do in the room I'm sitting in right now because this is full of wedding stuff that
Yeah.
like I get anxiety when there's a bunch of things. Now I know with that said, I know that there are certain things I have to have in my environment right now that are there. And this is a temporary mess right here. But when I walk into my living room or my kitchen and it's clear and it's just full of, you know, things that make me feel happy or things that I need. When the coffee table is cleared out and it's only a coffee cup and a book and like
Yeah.
not like stacks of this and stacks of bills that don't need to be laying there, I feel so much better. I feel
Oh
great.
yeah, you do. You feel better, and you don't feel exhausted and overwhelmed. Oh, I
When
got
I
to get
open
this
the kitchen cabinets and
stuff done.
everything's stacked neat right now. Woo! Man, it makes me feel good.
Well,
Woo!
oh, it does. It does. It does. And I know if I get like behind a couple days behind on dishes, I don't want to cook. My kitchen's messy. Why do I want
Mhm,
to go in there and cook? It's messy. It's like, but when it's clean, I'm like,
mhm.
oh yeah, I'm gonna get in there. I'm gonna cook or bake or whatever. But when it's dirty, I don't want to be in there. I don't want. I have no desire to
I
be
think that's
cooking.
the thing. If your kitchen's dirty, you're less likely to wanna
Eat
mine's always
junk.
clean.
Yeah,
Mhm.
eat junk.
Like, I have something to cook on.
Yeah.
Like, I have something if it's dirty, why am I not pulling, piece of bag of chips out and just eating them? You know what I mean? It's easier, you
Oh,
know?
it is. It most certainly is. Well, I
Mhm.
think we kind of we over an hour. I would talk with you
Yeah.
forever, but I know everyone has busy
Yeah.
lives. So, is there anything you would like to recap on anything that we talked about before we go, or anything you would like to add?
I would just say, as far as, like, helping yourself, like, mentally, just finding something that makes you feel that's okay, let me backtrack on this. Finding something healthy that makes you feel good because I'm the worst example. I preach it all the time. You should do this, you should do that. Then I go home and do that. I think it was on Deanna's live last night. Was talking about it, like I haven't like binge. I've been in control of that, but I need it somewhere else to feel good. So went out to the store, swipe, swipe. You're already in debt. So you have to find something that makes you feel good. That's a good behavior or a good. thing to
Yeah, it
replace
doesn't
that
replace the
negative behavior,
addiction,
that negative
whether it's
feeling that you have.
yeah. Yeah,
Um,
you're not replacing it going to the casino, or you're not replacing
yeah.
it with, whatever that's not a healthy thing that's gonna keep you on track. And binge eating kinda is in a way like an addiction. So you're right, if I'm not binge eating
Mhm,
and I'm making healthier choices, but you like that, well, I have different feelings about binge eating, but I get what you're saying. But like if
mhm,
I ate some chocolate and that, ooh, good feeling,
mhm.
you know, um, don't go to the casino to get that same feeling, because
Yeah.
you're doing the same thing.
You need to
You're
find
not finding
something
a
for,
healthy
like, if you're
choice.
depressed or anxious and you need that good feeling, you need to find something that's
Mhm.
healthy and positive to
Well,
replace
yeah, and I'm not saying
whatever
don't
those
go to the
feelings are.
casino and have fun. I'm
Oh,
saying
no, no,
don't
no, but
replace it.
that's it for that, that's not I lose $20 and I'm good.
Mhm.
Like, now losing $20 on Disney World would be I'll just throw money at that, but the casinos aren't my weak spot.
Yeah, well, I just used that. I just pulled
That
it
makes me feel
out of my
bad.
head.
That one makes me feel bad.
But yeah, I agree with you 100%. Find anything if you're having any struggles, some form of help. There's so much information online.
Mhm,
Exercise, fresh air, journaling. I'm just rattling off some
mhm,
basic type things. Just start with something simple. And I think it'll be easier, because I don't know about you, Becky. If I make it a big production, I get overwhelmed and then I don't keep moving forward. I got to keep it as simple as possible
I'm the queen of
and
big
then add
production
on.
and making it complicated. You're
Yeah.
preaching to the
I
choir.
find the simpler you make it, the easier it is. And then if there's certain things you can't do because of health or physical, whatever,
Mhm,
find a different way. Find a different way to exercise, or whatever. But I just really want to promote, find somebody
mhm,
that you will listen to you. There's always somebody out there. And
mhm,
mental health is not a stigma. We all have different forms
mhm,
of it, and some people just don't realize maybe they do have it, or maybe their
mhm,
anxiety is, oh, I didn't put gas in the car before I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to wake up 10 minutes
mhm,
early. Now, if I did that, I wouldn't sleep, because I'd be thinking, oh, I got to get up early because of the gas in the car, whatever. But we all have our own things, and
mhm,
just find what will work for you, because, oh my gosh, we're also worth it. We're worth it. We deserve to be happy. We deserve to be
mhm,
healthy. And I just want the best for everybody.
mhm,
And myself and you, Becky, is just our life goes by
mhm.
fast, and
Yeah.
it's important to find all the joy and feel strong and feel
Mhm,
good.
mhm. Yeah, it was good to have this chat tonight.
Well, thank you so much, Becky. I really appreciate you guys, and everybody in the
You're
chat.
welcome.
Thank you for
Mhm,
coming. And you've put lots of great things to, I guess I didn't really answer anyone's questions, but hopefully we covered some things that were in the chat. And for anyone that comes back for the replay, thank
mhm,
you for coming. We appreciate you. And if you have any questions you maybe have for us, feel free to leave in the comments. I'm sure Becky and I will have some other type of live in the
mhm,
future to talk about something going on in our lives, or it's mental
mhm,
health or part two,
mhm.
whatever it could be. But thank you, Becky, so much for being on here. I appreciate you so much.
Alright, you're welcome.
Okay, bye everybody.
Alright,
And
good
we
night,
believe in
everyone.
you. And I think you're amazing. And Becky,
Oh, what, you want me to do my outro?
yeah, go ahead, do it.
And have a 5-star day, everyone.
Bye. We love you guys. Take care.